Well, hello and welcome back to another little video. I'm standing behind a rather nice clematis. I can't say I'm a huge fan of clematis. Our soil here, as I've explained before, unless you water it, can get incredulously dry and sunbaked. It's quite a silty, sandy clay soil that dries out and goes very knobbly very quickly. That's not to say that it's not a fertile soil, because I think it probably is. Clay soils was, but if I tell you it was more well suited to growing fruit trees, which this was a big orchard from the meadows go onwards down to the river and back right up to a huge part of the village that is now was all orchards, and it suited things like Bramley apples and Victoria plums. Having said that, most things grow here, and I can grow certain clematis as long as, if it gets dry like it has been this year, you keep them, watered. I think the old saying, I know a chap who used to have a big collection of clematis in a lovely Northamptonshire stone-walled enclosed garden. It was almost like a secret garden, and I got quite friendly with him. This was when I was 18, 19, and I was in the building trade, and we did a lot of work. They had a commercial premises, and this garden, he also had his house there, and this garden was hidden. I drive by it today and I think, I wonder what it's like now, because the chap died many years ago. He was retired then. I'm going back to the early 1980s. And he taught me a lot about clematis, and I remember he always told me that they really like their heads in the sun, but their feet and roots very much in the damp shade and the cool. And I think that's very important. Clematis do get some strange things like clematis wilt, where they'll suddenly just give up on you for no apparent reason. But that said alone, I don't know the variety of this clematis. It's rather a nice one. It has been flowering now. It's gone over its peak. It's been flowering for at least 3 weeks, so that's a good long flowering period. And I grew this from a cutting from a neighbour's garden. And by the way, I had got permission to take some cuttings off. You always got to make sure that you ask and get permission naturally. I think it's a big problem. I was reading that the National Trust in their gardens, people going around taking illicit cuttings off plants, but that's another story, isn't it? So yeah, this was grown from cuttings about 3 or 4 years ago. It never gets too big. You can cut it down, you can leave it. You don't really have to worry about it. This is grown up a little hazel, my own nut tree, bits of growth that grow long and straight that I have to cut off the nut tree, and it's grown up a little tripod of those, and it does really well here. But what I was wanting to do, and the whole point of this video, is I'm going to try and take some more cuttings off this. I think it might be a bit too warm, but we'll have a go and see if we can get them to root. Now the ideal, obviously it's going to be a softwood cutting, so I'm looking about, and we're going to cut some flowers off naturally to get this, but we won't worry about that. As I say, it's been flowering 3 or 4 weeks now, and I can go up here, and I've got some really sharp pruners there, and I'm going to take that bit off there, and we'll take the middle flower out to start with there. Then we'll take that one off there down to there. We might take one of those off to there. We might just shorten the length a bit when we get it in the greenhouse, and we'll certainly probably take that one off there. The more growth we leave on cuttings, the more it'll wilt, but obviously plants need some leaves to photosynthesize, and so that is basically what we're looking for. So I got somewhat interrupted in doing this video. I had another neighbour come round to see me who's going away and wants their gardening watered. So another job there. But yeah, I was just sort of basically showing you how I would go about getting some little bits off this clematis or clematis, whichever you fancy. I use secateurs. You can use a really sharp knife. These are very sharp, or they're a very cheap pair, but I do sharpen them up myself. And basically it's a question, I would cut the flowers off. Obviously you don't want the flowers, we don't want that bit there. And then I would tend to cut one leaf off like that. I might even cut that as well, to cut the area of the leaf down, and then I might just sort of put a better cut on the end. It's got bird dirt on that, but I mean really that's neither here nor there. That's the kind of bits that I would take of these softwood Clematis cuttings. We have another look. As I say, this is going over now, so I'm not, you know, particularly worried if I cut any of the flowers off it. Really, it's been flowering so well and profusely now for we could. That's very thin, that one. Yeah. What do we got there? That might be okay, that one there. And there again, I would cut the flowers off and then cut those leaves off, and then cut that leaf off there, and I'll take those into the greenhouse now, and we'll get those into a little pot. So the idea is obviously just a small pot, and I would just stick the cutting in and firm it in a little bit, as I have just trimmed the ends again, so they've got a lovely clean cut on the end of the cutting. And then if you want, you can just dib those in or make a hole. It's probably best to make a hole with something rather than push the stem in, and then just firm round it. I'm only going to put 2 in this little pot. It's only a 3-inch pot, and then it's a simple question of what I do. Obviously I used to have electric on in here, but the electric is switched off now. You know, it's too expensive to run electric to a greenhouse, and I used to have all sorts of electric propagators, but I don't do probably, you know, one can't afford to do that these days. And as I say, when I raise my seeds, I have my little paraffin heater on for a few nights, as little as possible. But what I should do with these, I should probably water that, just give it a watering, and then simply put it in one of these nice, quite largest, it's a food bag, and probably put an elastic band around the bottom of it, so it's got a little tent over it, and then just keep that. Obviously it's going to come very, very hot in the next few days. Probably, you know, I might well lose these because of the heat, but what I'm going to try and do is keep them as much in the shade as I possibly can, and just keep my eye on them and have a go. That's the thing about cuttings, you know, sometimes you fail miserably. You take a whole load, and at other times, you know, everyone will grow with you, so it's always worth a try. So as I'm going to give that a little bit of a water, then put it in my bag, and if these do succeed, I promise you we'll come back and have a look at them. If they don't, I'll let you know. As I say, I think the way the weather is going to go, they're talking here in particular, we could have temperatures by late Sunday and on into Monday. It could get up to 40 degrees, and I mean, even in the shade, things are going to struggle, but we'll see. It's always worth a try. If that does happen, I'll probably try and do some more anyway. So that's how I've grown clematis for a number of years. I've done it with other sorts of clematis. The Montana clematis, which is a really vigorous growing clematis, has little flowers, pink or white. That is very easy to raise from cuttings. So if you know anybody with the Montana Clematis and you want to have a go at some cuttings, and you can get hold of some of those because it's a very profuse plant, that's a great one to start with. In fact, I do know a garden that I work in has got a Montana Clematis that I've got to, funny enough, I've got to cut back. So we might even have a look at doing some of those cuttings. I do like Clematis, they are a lovely plant. As I say, there's so many varieties out there, and it's always worth, even if they do grow, you can always give plants to friends, or whatever, or set it in another location in the garden. There's always, they tell me there's always room for another plant in everybody's garden. So as always, thanks for watching, and as I say, we will come back whatever happens to those, and I'll give you an update on them at some point in the proceedings. I don't hold a lot of hope out how hot the weather's going to come, but always worth a try with plants. Anyway, I hope your garden grows well. As you can see, my petunias are certainly enjoying this lovely warm dry weather. As I say, that's the benefit of having it so dry this year. The annuals, if you water them well, are doing extremely well here, and hopefully they'll go on a good 2 or 3 more months yet, giving me loads of colour. But whatever you're doing, take care. If you're in the UK, do watch out for those horrendous high temperatures we're expecting, particularly I believe on Monday and Tuesday, and do take precautions and stop indoors, I think is what people are being told to do. Obviously early morning or late in the evening, make sure your plants have got or had plenty of water for sure. So until next time, do take care, and as always, good gardening, and thanks for watching, and please like, comment, and if you like. It's always really great if you do subscribe. I really do value that, and thank you, and I'll see you in a future video very soon. Until then, bye for now.